A little closer to the mic, George.
January 24th, Operation SAFE from the Financial Division of the State of Florida, in coordination with the Sheriff's Department and the Attorney General's office will be here, put on a presentation regarding scams, rip-offs, and problems against seniors, and you know this has been a problem. Also, on February 2nd, we're going to have another Operation Pill Drop right out here in the lobby. We did 109.5 pounds of pills the last time we did this. Let's see if we can bring this up again and redo it, and let's get rid of this stuff here. Please do not throw these things down the toilet. Don't throw them down the sink. Hold on to them, bring them with you on the 2nd of February. Okay? Thank you.
Ed.
I just want to demonstrate at this moment, the dissolution of our delegates when we get to good of the order. I want to bring up that at the last delegate meeting, and it was brought up here, I discussed the temporary possible temporary fence that we could put on our side of the property. I keep passing that on Haverhill. It really is a breach of our security. You can't expect the guards at the gate to have eyes all over the place. We're talking about a diminutive sum of money.
A minor cost.
Minor cost. And I think it's well worth whatever that minor cost is. The other thing is I reviewed what I suggested at the last meeting about extending the width of the sidewalk on the way to the temple at a cost well below the $60,000. And that is, I looked it over, you don't have to take off all the grass, maybe 2 feet, and put pavers. And it'll be a fraction of the cost. I don't think you need permits to put pavers, and it'll solve the problem in a quick way. The other quick thing is, has anybody talked to Bob? In other words, I'm not pressuring him. He's been here a long time. But as a civic-minded individual, and I hope he gets well, I think he should have realized that that would be the right thing to do. So he's in the hospital now. It's sort of we've been acting without a whole full staff. The CPA is a very fine gentleman, but he's not a treasurer. There's a big difference between the duties. Thank you again. No, don't be sorry. Everybody, we'll see you next month, God willing.
All right. Jerry.
Jerry Satowski, Wellington E. I just wanted to publicly compliment Donald Foster. You ask him to do something, it's almost done immediately. He does a fantastic job, and I think he should be recognized for the job that he does. Also, the gentleman who asked about cleaning the bins, we have contracted with somebody called Bin Masters, Bin Medics. Costs about $250 a month. He does all our bins. He does all the recycling. He does an excellent job, and I'd highly recommend it to other associations. And finally, David, could you give us a bit of an update on what's going on with Atlantic Broadband up to now, as far as, progress, et cetera?
We're having our regular monthly meetings. Wednesday. And, Wednesday. And things are rolling. They're in design phase. They've been all over the campus. They've collected a bunch of almost 100 free cable drops for internet and TV. We're moving along. We're in a technical sort of design phase, and I certainly invite anyone who's interested to come to the meetings.
Okay, we just had a Wellington Federation meeting, and I was going over the salient points that Lanny Howe did in the UCO Reporter article. Right. Could you explain to people what a rhino pit is? Because they looked at me like I was crazy when I thought...
That's a metal box that contains fiber interconnects from the main line, which will ultimately be extended to your individual units. In fact, if you look around your property, you will find some probably in bad shape that Comcast has placed, like a little metallic box. And don't play with it. It's full of wires, but that's all it is. In this case, they're going to bury them. So they shouldn't be sticking up and we're tripping over them. Les.
Yeah, Les Rivkin, Stratford J. Happy New Year to everybody. I have 4 quick items. One of them is you wouldn't know when UCO is meeting because in the reporter this month, there was no meeting list. I looked several times and I couldn't find it.
I found it.
It's there. So much for my eyesight. Okay. The other night, I left the clubhouse. It was raining. I got down to the crossroads by the drugstore, and I couldn't see anything. It was pitch black. And I thought, God forbid, if somebody was crossing any of those 4 crossroads, I could run them over. We really, really need a light there. I know other people like myself, we don't see now like we saw 20 years ago in the nighttime. Another thing, it was raining a couple weeks ago. The tennis courts were kind of wet. People had to really slow down. The word was don't run, just walk after the ball. And if we had hard-true courts, this would not happen and things would be much safer. One last thing, I'm here about 8.5 months a year, so I'm not eligible to run for an office. Once again, I ask that this be looked at. The 9-month restriction might just be too tight for some of us. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Les. Alan?
Alan Preston, Greenbrier B. I have some information about the bus system that I'd like to get on the public record. The method of collecting statistics about the ridership is very much flawed. I ride the bus regularly. Approximately a month ago, a little more, you initiated a card reading system. The card reading system does not work very well at all. I have ridden the bus numerous times when my card didn't register. How do I know it didn't register? Because the machine didn't make the usual beep. I normally sit towards the front of the bus because of my guide dog, and I have seen numerous times the bus driver has tried for an extended period of time to get a card to read. It doesn't read, and he just hands it to the driver and we go on. I have gotten on the bus here at the clubhouse several times over the past month, along with other people, and the bus driver was not in his seat, and when he came to the seat, he did not ask us for our cards, and therefore we were not registered. Please, if you're going to use these statistics to modify our bus, we know what direction that's going if the card readers aren't working right, either find another system or fix the one we've got. Please, it's very frustrating for both the drivers and us riders. The buses are frequently late because of this system. We need this system in here because it's a backbone of the elderly community for those of us that don't drive. And please try to make it easier to either know about our public transportation meetings and to get to them. It's very difficult for those of us who don't drive. Thank you.
Thank you. Alan, Eddie, you got any comment on this?
Yes, what you have to understand is this company has spent the last 9 months trying to find a way to do the job correctly. What they've come up with is a system that doesn't work well, but I'm told within a month they'll have a system that takes a picture of the face of the card. It will read it better and provide us better delivery of passengers to their seats sooner and an ability to say actually who's been on the bus. This is not because we're cutting out things like you've assumed. This means we're trying to cut out bus stops where you spend 45 minutes to 55 minutes riding the bus when we can cut that to 30 minutes because we don't have so many stops that are not being used. So we're looking to provide better service to you, not create problems. And it may take another month to get it corrected.
Sir.
Good morning, Ray Stecker from Canterbury A. I have a quick question about Atlantic Broadband. My association is wondering if at some point is there going to be a form that we fill out for the different things that we want out of Atlantic Broadband. Like I've decided that I want the internet and phone. So as I'm sitting around my unit, and I was in construction for like 45 years, and all the wiring is done, pre-drywall. It's done through the studs and then the drywall. Well, we got finished units, and I'm wondering, how are they going to run all this fiber optic cable into my unit without a lot of damage?
All right.
Because I have a computer on the left, and I have a TV on the right. I have a phone in the kitchen. I got a phone in the bedroom, and I got a TV in the bedroom. Where are they going to run all this wire?
All right, hold on. They won't be pulling fiber beyond the D-mark. It'll be fiber to the D-mark, and your coax, your existing wiring will be tested. If it can support TiVo, in other words, sufficient signal strength, there'll be no change. If it cannot, there will be new wires put in, but it will be coaxial.
So they're going to use my AT&T wire, right?
AT&T?
We'll have AT&T for the phone
Yeah, sure.
and the internet.
Yes, they'll do all that wiring.
They're going to run it through that wire.
Yes,
Okay, so we won't have to change
if it
the
has
wire.
to be done.
Right,
It has to
but-
be done. They can't put a TiVo box in your apartment if your wires won't support the signal strength.
Right,
you
but I
know.
thought we voted on this company for the new cable, instead of using all the old cable that we've had for, who knows, 20 years?
It depends on whether your cable is good. If it will, they run a test, they bring a little box, and they send a signal, and if there's sufficient signal strength, they won't make a change. Why tear it out? But if there's not sufficient signal strength to support the TiVo, they will put new wiring in. What they're going to find, we already know. They're going to go up in the attic, and there's going to be splitters, and all of that has to go away so that you'll have sufficient strength in that signal to run your equipment.
David, one other issue, they actually came into my home as one of the investigative days they were here, and they checked the wiring for signal strength, and they decided whether they will or have to replace my wiring. And I would have to be here when they do it, so I can say, I don't want the TV over there, I want it over here.
Right.
Right.
And they will customize whatever you want as a unit owner, so it's not just a blanket the way it was done before.
Well, what
And
happens?
all of this, sir, is at no charge to you.
Right.
They're paying for it.
What happens if the snowbirds are out of town and they haven't specified
Then they won't
Okay.
do the
that they
work.
wanted internet or
They
phone?
won't, they won't do the work.
But when they
over
come
here.
back, they decide they want the internet.
Yes.
Are they going to come out and do that
Can I,
for free?
can I
Yes.
answer some of that for you as a vice president? And I know myself, and I'm sure the other vice presidents, we're going to have meetings in our quadrants. Our quadrants are the buildings that we're responsible for. We're going to please talk to your people, talk to your officers that you have a key to every unit and that you're going to be here when they have to get into the... This is a very big factor that Atlantic Broadband keeps bringing up at their meetings all the time. I'm going to start scheduling my meetings very soon, and it's early, but I'm going to ask representatives from all the different buildings to come. I don't care how many come, the more the better, because that way they'll know. But we are going to get this information out to all of the residents that they know. They want to move their TV, they're going to have to let their offices in their buildings
Right.
know. They're going to have to let you.
That's
the
what we
offices-
need to know, because
right,
we
the
are
offices
definitely going to have a key.
Right, the offices
There's going to
are
be at
gonna
least
have to-
3 of us that are going to be all the time.
That's
when
right.
AB comes out there, there's going to be no problem with them getting in
That's
and out
right.
of a unit.
That's right.
The preference of the people is
That's
what
right.
we need to
But
have
the key
first.
is going to be the offices and the residents in the buildings themselves. They're going to have to make sure that they have a key, that they don't have any problem with somebody going into their
Right.
unit. I mean, most of them have the right in their bylaws to do this, if they've taken 2 offices at the time. So we are going to reinforce this, and we're going to work with Atlantic Broadband on this, because
Okay.
we know that we have a lot of people here that like to move things around. So this is their chance to do it, okay?
Okay.
But they will make
You
sure.
raised a question at the beginning, very important. As we get closer, they will have a major rollout. Those of you who were here when Comcast came in, and we rolled out the boxes. We took over the room right down here, room C, and they had all sorts of subcontractors. They signed you up and took careful notes, association by association, what you wanted, each unit owner. So that's going to happen. Same thing's going to happen here.
But they're also going to give you good notice before they're going to be in your neighborhood. So it's not like you're going to be out there tomorrow and start, and you better be ready. They're going to give us good notice.
I know, that's another thing.
Not a question.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, Esther's next.
Okay, is this working? Yeah. Okay, Ed, Dave, I think you're looking at pie in the sky. I could tell you that if I were an officer of the, any association, and I would take somebody into an empty apartment and be responsible for staying there during the whole time that the work is done, and being responsible for any damage that the workers do, I want no part of that, and I don't think most people will want that responsibility. I don't know how it's going to be done. I didn't want this contract in the first place, but I think anybody who takes that responsibility upon their shoulders has got to be nuts or have a lot of money in the bank.
To qualify what was said earlier, they've told us you need to be home when they're working in your unit so that you won't have a complaint when they leave your unit.
And why are we talking about getting keys from people and knowing what they want?
If your building wants to take that liability on, have fun with it. Mine's not going to, because I want every unit owner satisfied, or they'll wait till they show up when they get down again.
Okay, then they're going to have to wait till they come down.
Let's worry about it when the time.
All right, I want to remind everybody of something that probably is not well known. To this very day, 8 years in, 13% of the units in this village have not received a Comcast cable box. There are certain folks you're never going to get to. Ideally, a snowbird may not be here, but there will be a secondary rollout in season. Every effort will be made to be sure that the unit owner is present. It's up to each building. I agree with Esther. It's a tremendous responsibility to take on, and it will be up to each building if you wish to do that. If you are enabled with keys and you're willing to take that responsibility, please be my guest, but you don't have to. Atlantic Broadband is aware that this is a seasonal community, and there will be another rollout at the top of the season. So we'll get as many as we can. Believe me, if there is a unit where someone regularly comes and they arrive and they have no cable, they'll let us know about it very quickly. And that first installation is in fact without charge to you. And they'll put the 3 drops anywhere you want them. Okay?
George Nathan, Windsor Sea. In the dark hours, there are many people, some, that are walking the streets, and the clothing they wear is so dark you can't see them, even if you have your lights on. Can we put an article in UCO from time to time telling people if they're going out walking to wear light clothing or something that can be seen? And this applies to bicyclists also. You can't see them. By the time you see them, you're almost on top of them. And you say, oh my God, there could have been an accident here.
How about using the sidewalk?
We have done this many times. We're more than willing to put a box in again.
Yeah.
Someone like George might write an article in his safety column. This is very important, and I would even suggest some of those fluorescent strips. Make yourself visible at night.
Okay, thank you.
John.
Happy New Year, John Gluzak from Salisbury H. Talking about putting cables in people's apartments. I have an association of 24 people. I'm going to write a letter, let them sign it, that we will go in and do the job. And they're responsible for if there's any damage or anything else, we are not responsible for it. They either say yes or no. And if they say no, they do it on their own.
Thanks, John.
A quick suggestion to those who want to take the responsibility, I suggest that you have a form printed out and have that unit owner sign the form waiving any liability on your part for when you're in the apartment. We make a practice, everybody's going, but we make a practice of always having an officer. But we only do it at the request of the unit owner. But a verbal request is not enough. A hold harmless letter would suffice, saying, we want you to be in there. If anything happens, you're not liable.
All right. We can certainly ask Rod to put together something. I got the feeling for what you're saying, and we'll see what he comes back with. Folks, we really are well below quorum in spades, so I'm going to call for an adjourn motion. Mr. Grossman moves to adjourn. Without further objection, we are so adjourned. Thank you.